Alright guys, so this video is going to be a little bit different than usual. It's going to be a actual like art video. It's going to show off some of the art that I've done in the past, and it's also going to do some basic tips for people who want to get into drawing or haven't even tried, right? So I'm not the best artist. I'm still an amateur. I've only been drawing for around a year, but I can tell you guys some of the stuff that I've learned uh, through school and like just some stuff that I picked up by myself. Alright, so uh, let's get into some of my older kind of art. So when I first started drawing, I did it on like some just regular note paper or line paper, right? So if you want to draw, you don't really need the fancy stuff, really. If you want to draw, just draw on anything you have, right? This one, it's more recent, not recent, but the last kind of drawing I did on line paper. But yeah, it was Garfield and Thanos with the Thanos gauntlet and Donkey Kong, right? I actually did a painting of this that I might show you later, but I don't think it's as good because painting for me, I'm not good at really painting. I don't really have much experience with painting, so this one was Kefla from Dragon Ball Super. I really like the character, and yeah, I just really liked. I wanted to draw how she was, cause like when I first started, I drew like a lot of male characters, and I think male characters are easier to draw than it is female characters because females have a lot of curves and not a lot of straight lines like males do. So this one was like when I started getting into coloring a little bit. It's Lucio from Overwatch. So yeah, there's not much to say about this one. I drew it with a regular pencil, and then I just used a black pencil or black color pencil to kind of do the outline and stuff like that. Oh, this one's upside down. But basically, this one was pretty bad. I made a Frieza one, but I actually gave that one away because the Frieza one was a lot better. This one I kind of messed up with a lot of parts. The hair is like too small and things like that, so I don't really like it too much. This one was just like my first time drawing people realistically, and this was a actual profile picture for one of my friends. I just drew it. I don't know. It's not that good. This one, my friend told me to draw a CSGO character, I believe. I don't really play it, but I think it's some sort of meme about the terrorists or something. This one was Diva in her mech. This one was kind of hard to draw since there were so many parts to it, and I needed to scale everything so it would look nice. But yeah, it was kind of hard doing the small details. Things like that, it was pretty hard. This one, oh yeah, I drew Diva as the full kind of character. And yeah, so this one was actually one of my first drawings that I did that I actually shared with people. It was Winston from Overwatch. I really like this one. I think the hard part about this one was the actual shading of it. This was before I knew how to shade anything really, and the gun was kind of hard for me to do. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit off. I really feel bad right now. I really feel sick. I just woke up and yeah, I don't feel good. So this one was actually when I was in high school, me and my friends would kind of play D&D, but not really official or anything like that. We just like did scenarios and we rolled a dice and see what would happen, right? So I was like, I want to make my character a dwarf and also a warlock, because I thought those two combinations were funny. So I drew him kind of like that, and this one was just kind of random kind of stuff. So this one was when I was getting into drawing characters. I think this one was actually freehand, and I drew the eye because I was practicing how to draw eyes better. Again, this was the kind of, what's it called, sketches for female and male. This one was just another There's like a photo that one of my friends actually did. Or it was a photo and I drew it because it looked funny. So this one, this little thing here, I drew it, and if you could see, I don't know if you could pick that up, but hold up. So you can see there's like little spots that say like B on it and W. And basically what that means is that which parts are going to be white and which ones are going to be black. And that actually comes from this thing right here. So this is actually a laminate tile, I think. We did this in art. So basically we got a little like thing to kind of carve into it, right? And everything that you carve away will be the white, and everything that you leave behind is going to be the black. So after that's all done, what you do is that you get like a roller and you put some ink over it, really thin layer of ink onto it, and then you just put it on a paper and you just kind of smash down on it, right? So this is what the final product kind of looks like. As you can see, wherever I carved stayed white. So yeah, you could try to do these. I don't know if you want to do these at home, because you need like something to carve it with. I used like this special tool to carve it with. Like I had like multiple sizes really, so you could do that if you wanted to, but it's basically like a stamp. So yeah, let's see. So after a while, I actually started getting into drawing on printer paper. Let's get all of everything out. Some of these are just sketches that I use to make bigger projects. So these are exercises that I did in class, right? You draw half the other. You draw the other half of the face, right? So I did this one. This one was Pandora's actor from Overlord. Yeah, I just colored it because my friend just wanted it. So this one was Raftalia from Shield Hero. I really like this one. It took me a bit to draw because I don't know, she's kind of tall, I guess, in this drawing. Yeah, I drew Ainz from Overlord. So yeah, this is I don't think this isn't the time where I got the new pencils. So this one was Vegeta. This one, oh god, I forgot I had this one. Oh, hold on. I think I might have cut them off. So yeah, these are the ones I drew. So I drew this one because this was a request from my friend. He basically wanted me to draw Fat Albert, but as Sans from Undertale. This one again was this one was kind of an inside joke between us in my friend group about Yo Mama and how it's like really bad. And he wanted me to draw him as like Bling Bling Boy for some reason. So this one took me a while to do. This was still before I started using like the kind of artist pencils. So I drew this and I used pen to kind of to outline everything, and I think a black colored pencil to do the shading after I did it with regular pencil. So yeah, this one was the Broly with Super Saiyan, same thing I did the other one. This one was Nafumi, but I messed up. I made him way too short because I drew him where it cut off. I drew him too low, I guess, and it cut off. This one was the other drawing that I did earlier, but I made him a clown. So this one is Deku from, My Hero, right? Everyone should know since it's my main content on YouTube. So yeah, I really don't like drawing his hair. I just don't like it. And I don't like it's not like I don't like the design, it's just tedious drawing it over and over. That's why I don't do too many drawings now, I guess, of his hair. I kind of like don't do the shading in it. So this one's Jonathan Joestar from JoJo Bizarre Adventure. So this one was kind of the first kind of drawing that I kind of did for more realistic looking characters from anime. Oh, this one I had to do a large scale painting of the four first Joestars, and I'll show you that in a bit. But that was kind of yeah. So this one was the original drawing that I did for Goblin Slayer. Again, this was when I just used the color pencil for most of my shading. This one was the sketch for the painting that I did. But yeah. And this one was just a drawing of one of my friends who was dabbing, and he sent me a picture of it, so I just drew it. So, with that being said, I'll show you some more, I guess, professional pieces, or the stuff I started drawing, when I got better, I guess. But first, let me show you my kind of JoJo painting that I did. So, this is the actual painting that I did. I drew, in a diamond shape because diamond is unbreakable. And what I did was I wanted to keep each of the characters in grayscale because it'd be easier to paint. And yeah. So after I did that, I had to draw on this canvas with regular pencil, and then draw each of the details and then paint over that. But it's pretty hard to do something like that on this kind of canvas because canvas isn't smooth, right? There's a lot of cracks in it, or little I don't know how to explain it, but there's little spots in it where you have to go over a brush a lot. So you have to wait for things to dry and paint over it, right? So I started with Josuke, I think, and then went on to Jotaro, and then I did Joseph, and then I did Jonathan, I think. And then the backgrounds, I did that after I drew everything. And I didn't want to give them any eyes or anything like that because it was just too hard. I didn't have any small paintbrushes that I could use to do that because everything I've been using for this was provided by the school. So yeah. Oh, and there's no outlines really. It's kind of yeah, that's the kind of style I want for something with grayscale, and that's also doesn't have outlines. So yeah. So the last part that I'll do, I'll show you some of the kind of art I have in my sketchbooks, and then after that I'll do a kind of tutorial and some kind of drawing tips and things like that, right? So this is my first sketchbook. I got it from my cousin, and he had drawn in it previously, and I do still have some of the drawings that he has in this. There's only a few, but there are some, right? So we'll get to the first page. So this one, I just drew the head, if I could focus here. I drew the head, and then I just kind of just stopped because I didn't want to draw the rest. I don't know why. So I just drew a weird shaped body. And then this is one of my cousin's drawings, so I won't talk about it too much. This one, this is the first kind of drawing that I did with ink, pens and markers, and I'll show you that in a bit. So this was the first time using these kind of things. It was this on this, and I don't have the original marker that I used, so I had to get new ones because they dried out, and this isn't the original pen either. So these are the kind of things I used. So this right here is actually a lead pencil or graphite pencil, I don't know what you call it, mechanical pencil. So this is actually a 0.5, I believe. You don't have to use these for drawing. Obviously, it just makes it easier since it's thin and it's light, so it's easy to do that kind of stuff. But you can use a regular mechanical pencil. And this is the pen that I use. So the reason why I use this kind of pen and not like a regular one is because the tip of it, I don't know if it'll focus, but basically it has that black part of it, right? And what that does is it has a constant flow of ink there, so you don't have to keep going over the thing with a pen, because regular pens sometimes it won't write, so you would have to go multiple times over it. But with this kind of pen, you're always going to be able to do it, and it's thin. So for this kind of shading that I did with the pen, what I did was I turned it at an angle, like kind of like this, and just started going in the direction that you want it to be. So that's not really how you're supposed to shade with pen, but that's how I figured. That's how I did it on this, and I'll show you how to do it later, how you're supposedly supposed to do it. So I'll go over a few more and then I'll get to the actual thing. So this right here was Asta. This is just like sketching, try to figure out how the heads work. So this is Asta. I drew it with pencil first and then went over with pen. And these darker spots here are just my marker. And this was around the time when my marker was drying out, so I had to use a regular like permanent marker, and it looks kind of weird because they're not the same shade of black. This one, it's not the first time I don't think it's the first time I use my pencils, my art pencils here. I'll show you in a bit. I'll just get a few of these here. So these are the kind of pencils I have. So if you could see, each of them has a letter and they will usually follow by a number. Like this one has an H2 or 2H, and this one has a 4B. So basically what that means is H stands for hard, and then B stands for bold. And what that means is H has a harder lead in it and will actually draw lighter. So and then the higher the number is for the H's, the more light it's going to be. And then it's the opposite for the B. So if you have a B, and then it goes like B is for bold, so it's the graphite is softer and you can get more on the paper, that's why it's darker. And the higher the number is, the darker it's going to be. So right now I have a max for these pencil sets. You get like a B that's around 6, I believe, or 8. Basically, I forgot where the other mine broke because this is pure graphite. Let me find the other piece. So this is pure graphite, no wood at all. So this is an 8B, if you can see. And so this one in particular is very vulnerable because it's just pure graphite. This broke because I had my bag on a chair and it just fell over, and it wasn't even that high of a drop, but yeah, it still kind of broke. So let's get through the rest of this. This was when I was trying to do freehand drawing, so I guess we could do a little tutorial here. If you want to draw a character from the side, this is a 3/4 view, so you would want to have one of the shoulder facing you longer than the other, and things like that. So I kind of messed up in this one. This right here, where they meet, it doesn't go all the way. It, like, if you were going from an angle, it should be like right here, where the kind of rail should be. It should go that way, but since I messed up, and yeah, and I drew the hair like this, kind of flowing with a little shading there, or lights, and kind of like open spots. where the hair would be thinner, things like that. We could go to the next part. So this one is kind of one of my better drawings with pen. So I did the same thing here. This one is more, it's a mixture of what I did and more conventional shading techniques with pen. So what you typically do with pen is that there's a few things you could consider. So the first one would be how bold you want the line to be, so how much pressure you put onto it, and then the space between them. So that's lighter, but the space kind of open spaced, right? But if you were to do dark and then have little space in between, and then you'd also want to kind of do kind of tagging to it. I think that's what it's called. And basically go perpendicular to it. So that's kind of how you do it. Or you could do like any kind of shape or line. You could do curved. This really depends on how you want to do it. So what I did here was I just kind of did the same thing, and then I did the opposite, and then in darker spots I needed to just do more of that and less. I put more pressure. I think that's kind of it for that. And then I will show you this one. This one's a bigger one. It's 11 by 14. So let's get into it. So this one, I was actually drawing it was like the characters from Borderlands, the pre-sequel, because I like that game, and Borderlands 3 is coming out soon, so I thought it was a pretty good chance to do it. I didn't finish it, but this was kind of my first drawing in this notebook, or not notebook, sketchbook. So this is when I was testing out my new markers. You could do the same thing, the same shading techniques that you use for pen, you can use for markers. So this one was the prototype deku that I did for my prototype series. So yeah, not much to say. This one was the D4C that I drew. What I basically did was I just put a lot of shading into it. I'll teach you guys some shading techniques and what you could do. But yeah, this one wasn't too hard, I guess. I just shortened the kind of torso and I made it a little bit wider and things like that. Made his like face a little bit rounder. His like kind of horns or ears smaller. So yeah, this is the accelerator deku. So yeah, not much to say about this one, except for this. What I just did was just I went with my pencil and just did this, just a bunch of lines kind of converging at these points. And this is the All for One deku. This is my Bond. So this one was kind of hard to do, especially the hands. But what I decided to do was, for the actual torso, I made it into a kind of simple shape. Like I just did like a massive curve, and I did it on the other side. And then after that, I kind of drew in the detail to kind of be something I could follow along with. So yeah, that's kind of all the kind of things I could show you at this point. So at this point, I'm gonna actually like teach you some stuff. So in the description, I'll have like gallery and then kind of the tutorial part of the actual video. So for this, the first exercise you could do for shading is pretty easy and simple to do. So what you would do is you make a few squares, right? And then what you do after that is you could just try to make each one kind of darker as you go along, right? So, you would start off light, and the way that you would do it is you put less pressure on your pencil and you make the lines kind of more spread out. And you could do either way. You could start from dark and then go to light, or light to dark, but it just generally depends on you, really. So after you get your light one, you go a little bit darker. So what you could do is put more pressure into your pencil, or you could put more lines than usual. So this will help you kind of see how much pressure you need for each kind of part, and then it could show you how long it's going to take, I guess. So this is what you kind of do. This is like the first thing they teach you in art class, I guess. At least they did for me. So what you could do here is, after you get the first kind of layer going in a certain direction that you are, what you could do is come back to it and actually do it the opposite direction. Not the opposite, but perpendicular to it. So you could go just like that. Again, keep in mind your pressure and the space in between your lines, because this will make it darker, because there's more graphite on the paper and there's less white space. So what you could do is that you could get like a normal number 2 pencil, because if I remember, most number 2 pencils are HB, which means hard and bold. So it's like a mixture of the two. So yeah, I'm not sure how dark this graphite that I have. I think it's like, I don't think it tells me, but it's not that dark. So what you want to do for these kind of pencils is do a lot of different directions, I guess. So you would start with the regular, and then you would come back with the side hashing. So that's kind of how it goes, right? From lighter to darker. So that's what you could do. You don't really need those pencils, like I said. You could just use like a normal pencil, or you could use like, you could buy like a bold 6 or something like that, where you just have to like learn how to be light with it. So another thing you could do is that if you're going off a reference and you're really and you want to like upscale it, then what you could do is kind of like this, right? This is the kind of thing that I did for this is kind of old, right? But this is the thing that I did for the picture, or the poster that I did for my shield hero poster. You could see that in one of my videos. I think it's the what if Deku had was the shield hero. And what you could do is, if you could see, there's actual like a grid here, right? I believe this is 1 inch by 1 inch, but I don't remember. So what you could do is, if you're upscaling something like this, then you could do a grid, the same grid, and then go to the corresponding like squares and just kind of go where that line is. So you're just filling it out with each square. So if you want to see how this final product looks, then you could go check out my what if Deku had the shield was the shield hero, and you could see how it came out. So let's say you want to draw something original, right? You gotta like think about this perspective from what you want to draw. If you're gonna draw like inanimate objects and like mountains and things like that, there's a few things you gotta know. So if you're drawing something like mountains, right? Let's just do this, right? what you want to do for this is you want to make the farthest one away from you the lightest, right? And then as it keeps going down, you want to make it darker, because when we see something dark, we think of it as being closer, and something that's lighter, farther away. So as you could tell, this works in real life, right? If you look at the mountains in a certain area, the ones closer are a lot darker, and the ones farther away start to fade away in your kind of like vision, right? So that's the kind of thing you could do. If you're doing like something like if you want to make it where the horizon, everything's going towards the horizon, you know what I mean? This is what you do. You draw the horizon line, and then you pick one spot on it, right? It doesn't have to be the middle, but it just has to be somewhere there, right? So what you do here is that you draw your shape. Let's just say it's a square to make it easy, right? And I don't have like a ruler with me, so I'll just use this. So what you do is that you just have all the lines, all the corners kind of connect to that little point. You see what I did? And you just do that for each of the corners, right? I'm just doing this kind of quick so I could do some other stuff. So yeah. And then what you do here is that you kind of just connect the pieces, like so. Kind of, it has to be kind of straight. So that's what you do, and then when you're done with that, you could just erase it. So hold on. As you can see here, it goes into this point, right? And you could do that the opposite way too. Let's just do this quick, right? Right, and you just connect it, and it just goes into that point. That's kind of how you do it for 1 point perspective. If you want it for 2 points perspective, this is kind of what you'll see at a corner of like a road. So let's just say this is like the corner, and then how do you, okay, hold on. What you do is the same thing as this, right? You draw your horizon line, and then you just pick 2 points on the thing, and then you draw up like that, and then you just connect the pieces here. Right, and then what you do here is that you kind of go downwards, and this could be your first building, right? And then if you want to make shorter buildings, you do the same thing here, right? Let's say you want to make a building like around this size, right? What you do here is that you actually for the side of it, you actually go inwards like that, right? It has to be like you kind of just connect it, that little like line right there, so it looks like it's going inwards. And then you could do the same thing here, where you just connect it, and depending how long you want it to be, and then do that, and you can just continue, and you can make like buildings like that. So you want to keep these lines straight, and then the top ones you want to curve them down. You want to make it where the lines line up with these 2 dots. So that's how you do that kind of perspective. So yeah. So if you want to draw people, if you're not going for like a particular style, then what you do is the head, needs to be the half the size of the shoulders. So if you're gonna make your head 2 inches long, like wide, then you would have to make the shoulders together 4 inches wide. So that's kind of how it goes. So if you're gonna start with your head, because you could start with any part first, but usually I start with the body and then go for the head. But it really depends on the kind of drawing I want to do and what the main focus is. So what you could do is that you draw a kind of circle, right? And then just erase anything that's not, that doesn't make it like a good circle. There's like 2 ways you can make a circle. You could do it like this, where you just go in a, you just keep going in a circle like that, and that's like kind of okay. Like I don't do that really. I just wanted to show you because that's the most like typical thing you're gonna see. What I do is I do kind of like curved lines until I get a circle, and then I just kind of go into it and make it more round as I go. But you could do either way. So once you have your circle, right, you want to decide what kind of angle you want it to be. So what you could do is, if you want to make it front, then a front view, the lowest part of the curve that you're going to do should be in the front. So it should be kind of like this. And then you kind of want to make like a straight line. Like that. And then you want to connect the sides. So what you want to do is kind of make like an indent for you want to make like an indent for where the eyes would be, or I guess kind of like that, kind of small indents here, and then jawline, and then do the same thing. I think I missed a step. I think you gotta draw a kind of, no, you don't have to do that. That's only for angles. So what that's like, that gives you the basic shape of a person's face, and then you could just kind of, what you could do is just put 2 lines here that kind of go into each other, and then just do the neck. And depending on if you want to make a female or a male, just make the neck as you go. If you want to make it more female, then you're going to make a kind of thinner and more kind of curved neck, I guess. And you just kind of do that. And then what you could do here is just kind of make the shoulders. Kind of like that. And like I said, you don't want to make the shoulders too big or too small, or else it kind of looks kind of weird. And then yeah, you gotta have these lines here to kind of represent how the neck is. And then the shoulders, if you wanted to make it more like a female, then the shoulders aren't going to be too broad. You're just going to have to like make it kind of lower, because men and women have different types of shoulders. Men have more of a straighter kind of shoulder, and females usually have more curved ones. So that was you could do. So what you could do here after you got this point is you could do a nose. You just kind of go where this line is and just kind of follow it. or you could do a little bit higher. Yeah, it should start around here where this intersection is and kind of go down, I believe. Wait, no. Hold on. I think I made the... No, I'm pretty sure this is alright. So you could start off there, kind of curve inwards, and just kind of do that. I'm not doing too much detail into it because I want to get into the kind of other stuff. But it really depends on how you want it to be, like any specific style, or you want to keep it realistic. I think I made the kind of jawline right here too big, so I kind of messed up there. But what you want to do is just keep it a little bit shorter and then still connect it like how you did. So you could just erase this and just kind of continue. And then yeah. For eyes, let's just get to a different part of the paper. So for eyes, you want to do they're kind of hard to do. So you want to go into like a kind of curve that goes downwards and then goes up, kind of like a small curve, and then go up, kind of like that, if you could see it. And then you just kind of do the opposite. You kind of mirror it, and then you just kind of on both sides kind of do little lines like that. And then what you could do here is that you could just make like an eyelid on both sides. Wait, no, that's not how you do it. You make the eyelids on the outside, so it's like and for the bottom piece you don't fully connect it to anything else. And then for the actual like pupil, you could just kind of make like a circle that's like not all the way like a perfect circle, depending on how wide-eyed the person is. And then what you could do here is you could either make it a kind of square or a circle, and then kind of do a circle within that. So, and then you would make this kind of black, this kind of circle here, and then everything around it you could either keep it like white, or you could just kind of shade it in, and then make the top part of it kind of darker than the other parts, because your eyelid's gonna cover some of the sun or the light coming through. And for eyelashes, I don't really have too much to tell you. They're just kind of lines. And then just go in the direction for the kind of the side you want it to be. It's kind of a bad eye, but still. That's how I would typically do it. I don't really like drawing realistic art. It's not kind of my style. I like doing more stylish or stylized kind of art. So yeah. So for this part, I'm actually going to do a kind of quick draw or a time lapse of me drawing this specific character from Rampa, because the person who gave me the tripod, or let me borrow the tripod for this video, wanted me to draw her and like, you know, give it to him. So shout outs to my friend Andrew for letting me use the tripod, and I'm gonna do a quick, I guess not quick, but for you guys it's gonna be quick time lapse, because usually it takes me like between 30 minutes and an hour to draw something because I'm kind of slow at it. But yeah, so with that being said, I'm gonna do a quick time lapse.